Cool, looking good, looking good. All right. What's going on, everyone? It's me, Aaron Collins, and this is another rendition of me addressing worldly issues in a godly way. I certainly hope that everyone is doing well, is in their right mind. Hope everyone is staying safe, staying clean, staying hygienic, and just doing everything that they know to do that's necessary and appropriate. So, without further ado, let's get on with the commentary. So, Netflix has a new show that's currently airing right now called Black AF. And actually, there's another show too that's on, which I'm eventually going to do some commentary on. It's called Tiger King. Right now, I'm going to talk about Black AF. So, Black AF is a show that centers and focuses around the life of its creator, Kenya Barris. For those of you who don't know who Kenya Barris is a producer known for creating shows such as BlackIsh and its two spin-offs, Grownish and Mixedish. And he's also done some other shows too. He's really well known in Hollywood. He's a black man. He's got some kind of clout in Hollywood as far as producing and all the trappings that come with it. So the show is loosely Black AF is loosely based on his actual life, being in I believe he's in a mixed marriage, and the children. Now, so far, I've only seen one episode of the show. I haven't actually seen any more. I'm going to look at some more of the show so I could see, give a more an analysis of the show. But anyway, the show is based on his actual life. He's apparently in a mixed marriage, has children from it, and the show, I guess, takes pieces of his life, which, from what people are saying, is not realistic about black life. And then I also look at his wife. Now, his wife, I haven't seen his actual wife, but his wife on the show is played by Rashida Jones. Rashida Jones is one of the daughters of Quincy Jones. She is the result of his union with Peggy Lipton, who was an actress in Hollywood. Rashida Jones does not typify the what you would say the normal black woman. And when I say that, she has an ambiguous look that is very prevalent in Hollywood. When they want to have someone that would play what they would call a black person, they would either get someone that's ambiguous or maybe have an admixture in them. They wouldn't necessarily get someone that's phenotypically and obviously black in a lot of shows. And this has been something that has been an issue in the black community for a long time. We have always dealt with the issue of colorism, and what would be the perfect image. And it's always been something that we have been self-conscious of in the black community, and particularly in Hollywood circles. So anyway, but back to the show. The show centers around his life, and from what I've seen from the first episode of it, he's living a life that is not typical of a black man. He's got, and this is not me throwing shade at Kenya Barris. I don't have anything against him. I don't really know much about him except for that, but he's living a life wearing Gucci sweaters and driving nice expensive cars. Once again, nothing wrong with that. And I guess he's getting some criticism about it, as far as also the way his children are raised too. His children are raised as in your typical manner of a black household. They're not raised in a typical way that black children should be raised. So, once again, y'all, I've only seen one episode of the show, the first episode. I have to watch the show some more. But this is basically from my experience watching the show. It is based loosely on his life. So him being a rich man, living the life he lives, he's not going to be living the typical black life to begin with. He's going to live a life of where he has a little bit more going for him. He's obviously financially well off, and he's probably living in some nice palatial estate, which is nothing wrong with it. Hey, I have no problem with him for that. As far as the show, from what I've seen, he's like being critiqued on his experience of being black. As far as the show is called, it's called BlackAF, and it's more like it's like he's trying to make a call of validation, saying, "Hey, I'm black also. Just because I'm living this way does not mean I'm not black." And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's a okay typical argument, but the fact that the woman playing your wife, Rashida Jones, for one thing, I don't know if she in the past has actually acknowledged her blackness, but she has been in shows to where she's either passing or race is just not mentioned. And if you look at Rashida Jones from a distance, you would swear that she's another white woman. She in the show, she actually did identify herself as a black woman. So okay, but we know that obviously that she's not. She's very ambiguous. And the thing is with mixed people who do have a black parent, which is the exact, which a lot of times the result is the progeny of a black man and a white woman. You have a very rare instances of the cross, of the reverse cross, but in this case it's mostly where the male is always a black father. But in instances like that, black people, I mean biracial people, mixed people, whatever the names are interchangeable, have always had an option, a choice of who they decide to identify with. Whereas with phenotypical black people, and I'm not trying to get into a discussion about race and colorism. I've actually had these discussions before. I'm actually trying to keep it focused on the show. Anyway, biracial people have always had an option of who they want to identify with. So a lot of the things that they deal with, they get it from both sides. Whereas we get it from usually one side, they get it from both sides. So, but anyway, the show focuses is based on his life. I don't know how the man lives his life in reality, but from what I've seen of that first episode, it's a life that is where he's basically trying to prove his blackness. He's trying to prove that he can be just as black as anyone else. And you got the people around him that are like trying to remind him of his blackness, particularly his assistant, who has said some off-kilter things like mentioning of Biggie Smalls or Tupac. And from what I understand, it seems like he's playing an exaggerated version of himself. But once again, I can't even say that because I don't know what Kenya Barris is like outside the show. But from what I've seen of the show, it's based on his life. I have heard his name before. I have heard the name Kenya Barris. And actually, I didn't, up into the show, now that I think about it, up into seeing the show, I didn't even know Kenya Barris was even a black male. I thought Kenya Barris was a woman. I mean, the name Kenya itself is usually a woman's name. Yeah, I know Kenya is an East African country, but it's usually a woman that's named Kenya. That's the first time I've heard of a man named Kenya. Once again, this is not to throw shade at Kenya Barris. So, I hope I'm giving I'm sorry that if my review of the show is not as analytical as I would like for it to be. I'm just only speaking from the episode that I saw, which is the very first episode. I have to look at some more of the show to give a little bit more of critique on it and go from there. But from what I understand, the show seems to be based on his life, not living a typical black life, as some would think, which is hence the name of the show, BlackAF. And we know what AF stands for, y'all. So I'm not going to say what it stands for. I already know the name, what the letters AF stand for. But yeah, I just want to just give my analysis of the little bit I have seen of the show, and let everyone know about that. Anyway, everyone, get in the comments. Let me know what you think. What do y'all think of the show? I have to watch some more of it. Support the channel. Share this video out, y'all. Support the channel. Oh, I just said that. Hit the bell icon. Be notified when I drop more videos. What else am I forgetting here? Oh, support the channel financially. PayPal.me/RealAaronCollins, as well as Patreon.com/RealAaronCollins. And yeah, so that's how I feel about the show. Like I said, I have to watch some more of it so I can get more of an in-depth detail of what the show is like. Well, I do believe the show is like an exaggerated view of his actual real life. There. All right, everyone. Remember this: that God loves you. I love you. That's the life.